Hey, is the food ready yet?
Sorry, it'll be ready soon. Furrowing his brow, my husband muttered,
Useless.
and settled onto the sofa to play his game. Today's dinner is jambalaya, a recipe my mom taught me.
I'm in the middle of a game. Don't bother me. You're just my wife.
Whenever I try to speak, he cuts me off with those words. I swallow my words.
Tastes like something from the countryside. What kind of palate does your mom have?
I remain silent, defeated. Just hunched over, existing in that moment. My stomach is starting to ache. Just then, my father-in-law arrived.
What's going on, Michael?
Well, Dad, try this.
My husband handed my homemade jambalaya to my father-in-law. His expression clearly showed disgust.
What's this? It looks rather dirty. Is it pig feed?
Exactly. It's what she made. It's so miserably poor.
Despite his words, my husband continued to devour the jambalaya. My father-in-law promptly tossed it into the trash. I murmured softly. There was no need to throw it away.
Wives should keep quiet. It's their job to serve decent meals to their husbands.
I'm used to hearing such remarks, so I let it slide and tried to eat some jambalaya myself. But then,
Hey, what are you doing?
huh? It seems like it didn't suit your taste, so I thought I'd eat it.
I won't let you eat the food.
Huh? My husband declared that since all these ingredients come from his earnings, it was unacceptable for me, his wife, to consume them. In front of my husband and father-in-law, I'm forbidden from eating or drinking anything, so I always sneak leftovers when they're not looking.
Finally ate. Now, clean up, will you? I'm going to play games.
Yes. The men in this household adhere to an archaic belief in male superiority and female subservience. As a woman, I'm not allowed to speak or even eat in their presence. Their mindset will lead to significant consequences. My name is Olivia. I work as a full-time employee at an apparel company. I met my husband, Michael, at a social gathering, and we hit it off, leading to our marriage. At that time, my husband's parents were still alive, and we often visited their home.
Oh, Olivia, welcome.
My mother-in-law always greeted me with a smile. However, my father-in-law never once welcomed me. Suddenly, my mother-in-law suffered a heart attack and passed away. Losing her was a significant blow for me. In my husband's family, the deeply ingrained belief of male superiority and female subservience prevails. The husband is the heir and holds a position of importance. The wife is relegated to domestic duties, serving as a housekeeper and supporting the husband. My mother-in-law has endured this situation. Perhaps the recent heart attack was due to accumulated stress. She was my only confidant.
Being married into this family is tough, but I'm here for you.
No matter how poorly my husband and father-in-law treated me, my mother-in-law always mediated. Her sudden departure left a void. Since the funeral, both my father-in-law and husband have been bossing me around.
Hey, there's no alcohol here. Bring some.
She really lacks awareness. What's going to happen to our family?
Sorry, Dad. I'll handle it properly. Olivia, pour the drinks over here.
I moved as instructed. I wonder how my mother-in-law, with her smiling portrait, would perceive me now. Suddenly, my husband called me over.
We're going to live together in my father's house.
Huh? My husband decided on cohabitation without consulting me.
Dad will be alone from now on. There's no one to take care of him except you. Oh, and I've already submitted your resignation letter to your company, effective tomorrow.
Resignation letter? Wait a minute. Why are you making decisions without discussing them with me? I shouted, but my husband walked away without considering my opinion. I was seething with anger. I had diligently worked at my job, especially my beloved position in the apparel industry. Yet, he unilaterally forced me to quit and care for my father-in-law? He's perfectly healthy, there's no need for me to look after him. He can manage his own affairs. But in this household, such opinions hold no sway. I'm well aware of that. Wiping away my overflowing tears, I returned to the hall. As soon as the funeral ended, I began the 3-person cohabitation with my father-in-law and husband in my father-in-law's home.
Hey,
Yes? Cigarette in hand, my father-in-law looked at me.
I want to smoke. Surely you have something to do.
I fetched an ashtray and lit my father-in-law's cigarette with a lighter.
Honestly, you can't fully embrace your role as a daughter-in-law. Don't just stand there.
But the ashtray and lighter were within your reach as well.
You, thinking you could talk back as a daughter-in-law? What kind of education did Michael give you?
Whenever I tried to speak, he dismissed me with the same refrain, as a daughter-in-law. I swallowed my words and moved as instructed. That day, I was preparing dinner. It was jambalaya, a dish my mother had taught me. I had some confidence in this jambalaya. I served it to my husband. His reaction was harsh.
What's this? Disgusting. Is this fit for human consumption?
It's jambalaya, the one my mom taught me. I think it's delicious. Just try it once. Reluctantly, he took a bite, furrowing his brow.
Awful. What kind of palate does your mom have?
I was shocked. It was bad enough that he insulted me, but now he was mocking my mother too. Then my father-in-law appeared. My husband handed him the jambalaya. My father-in-law glanced at it and promptly tossed it into the trash. What are you doing?
This is harassment, isn't it? Looks like pig feed. Don't mock me. Convenience store food is 100 times better.
I was holding back tears. I had put so much effort into making it. Even my mother, who taught me the recipe, would be disappointed. I tried to eat the remaining jambalaya. Then my husband said,
What are you doing?
I thought it didn't suit both of your tastes, so I wanted to eat it.
Are you stupid? All of this comes from my income. You're not allowed to eat it.
He actually said that. Wait a minute. I made this. Why can't I eat it?
No matter how many times I say it, you don't understand. Women don't need to eat.
I couldn't believe it. From then on, I couldn't have meals in front of my father-in-law and husband. Occasionally, during cooking, I'd taste it just a little. Lately, my stomach has been empty, and I've been feeling unwell, perhaps from stress. And then, an incident occurred. That day, I was making stew. Come to think of it, I hadn't eaten in a while. I felt dizzy today. Leaning against the kitchen counter, I stirred the stew. Lately, Even while cooking, the smell bothered me, making me feel nauseous. Perhaps my health was deteriorating significantly. All right, it's done, I thought, turning off the gas. But in that moment, my memory vanished. Apparently, I had collapsed right there. What's happening? My head is spinning. My consciousness is fading away. I closed my eyes. When I came to, I was lying in a hospital bed. It hurts. As I tried to sit up, my entire body ached. It seemed I'd bumped into things when I fell. Yes, I collapsed in the kitchen, which meant. Could it be?
Olivia, are you awake?
My overseas studying sister-in-law Sophia was there. Why are you here, Sophia?
I just returned home today. I found you collapsed in the kitchen and called an ambulance immediately.
It was my sister-in-law who happened to be visiting the home. My husband and father-in-law hadn't even noticed my collapse. My sister-in-law looked at me solemnly.
Olivia, were you eating properly? You were severely malnourished.
Well, I hardly had time to eat.
You've been bossed around by Michael and Dad, haven't you?
I couldn't say anything, so I nodded silently. My sister-in-law's anger was unyielding.
That household is messed up. They keep belittling women. They see women only as servants or housekeepers.
Her rage knew no bounds.
In this day and age, gender doesn't matter.
My sister-in-law disliked that kind of household, so she secretly saved money with my mother-in-law and went abroad for her studies. There, she met a man and got married, eventually settling overseas. Although she rarely returns, she hurried back when she heard about her mother's passing. She was profusely apologetic for missing the funeral. Then she revealed a shocking truth to me. I couldn't hold back my tears. I sobbed uncontrollably. My sister-in-law gently embraced me and asked,
Want to live together?
Yes, thank you. I was discharged from the hospital after about 3 days. However, my heart remained heavy. I decided to return home with my sister-in-law. At home, my husband and father-in-law were watching TV and laughing. It would have been nice if they'd helped a bit on my discharge day, but expecting that from them was futile. My husband noticed my return.
Hey, you're back. Oh, and Sophia too. It's been a while. Olivia, make some coffee.
I plunked the coffee beans in front of him and said, I'm leaving. Just came to pick up my things. With that, I gathered my belongings and left. My sister-in-law had been venting her anger at the two of them during that time.
How long are you going to keep playing the gender superiority game? When will you stop discriminating based on whether someone is male or female? What century are you living in? Because of you too, Olivia almost lost her life. And that's not all. Anyway, stop trampling on women forever. It's the same as when my mom was alive.
My husband and father-in-law were both dumbfounded by her actions. As I packed my belongings, I listened to my sister-in-law's words. It was exactly what I wanted to say. She was speaking on my behalf, and it felt like a weight lifted from my chest. I returned to the two of them and said, I have something to tell you.
What is it?
I handed my husband a small notebook. It was the maternity record book. When he looked at it, he saw my name listed as the mother and his name as the father.
What's this? Hey, are you pregnant?
Formally, I was pregnant.
Ha! But your belly wasn't showing at all.
I'm the type whose belly doesn't show much. I was already 5 months along. It's a boy. My husband's face lit up with joy.
A boy? Yes! Dad, it's a boy!
Oh, wonderful. And when is the due date?
My expression darkened. And then I said this. You both worked me to the bone, never letting me rest or eat properly. You left me lying there even when I collapsed. Because of you, this child was lost. I had a miscarriage. Both my husband and father-in-law's faces fell.
What a tragedy.
My grandchild, the heir.
I'm divorcing you. I can't take it anymore. You took something more precious than my life. I won't forgive you. The men were taken aback by my sudden outburst. I, who had always followed their orders without raising my voice, was now shouting at them.
Hey! What are you saying? You're here to bear the heir. If it didn't work out this time, just try again next time.
My patience snapped at his words. What do you think a child is? You can't just replace one if it breaks. A child isn't a toy. And I'm not some baby-making machine for you. You two have already pushed one child to the brink of death. You're accomplices in this. I'll settle everything through lawyers from now on. Don't ever contact me again. With those parting words, I grabbed my belongings and left the house. Later, my sister-in-law and I checked into a hotel. She hugged me without saying a word.
You've been through so much. Let's live together from now on.
I was going to leave my old life behind and fly overseas with my sister-in-law. I wanted to disappear somewhere, but she gave me the strength to face a new beginning. Living with her for a while, I'll eventually learn to stand on my own. It's my first time living abroad. I'm anxious, but also excited. Thankfully, I still have some savings from my days as an apparel company employee. This is my chance to start anew. Together with my sister-in-law, I boarded a flight from the US, leaving everything behind. Later, I received word through the lawyer that the divorce had been finalized. Due to my husband and father-in-law's actions, including the miscarriage of my child, a substantial amount of compensation was claimed. Later, I learned that my husband had been having an affair. While he treated me like a slave, he was enjoying himself with another woman. The lawyer didn't overlook this detail either. Thanks to that, the compensation was increased, and I could live without working for a while. But here I was, having come all the way overseas. I wanted to pursue the things I'd always dreamed of, immersing myself in the world of apparel brands. Maybe I'd give that dream another shot. For about a year, I stayed with my sister-in-law. Her husband was a kind gentleman who cherished her deeply and readily helped whenever needed. A world apart from the men I'd known. My sister-in-law had a 3-year-old daughter and seemed incredibly happy, a role model for me. During that year, I mastered the language and secured a job at a dream apparel company. Starting a new job in a foreign land wasn't easy, but compared to enduring the treatment from my husband and father-in-law, I could handle anything. It seems that my ex-husband and ex-father-in-law are living together. They're burdened with substantial compensation payments and leading a modest life. My ex-husband, having run out of money, has been abandoned by his affair partner and is now completely alone. Apparently, they argue incessantly about money. Well, none of that concerns me anymore. I'm starting my life anew. At work, there's a handsome guy named Lewis who's caught my eye. Maybe it's time to give love another chance. Right now, I'm feeling quite excited.
How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time.